a 2015 Lamborghini Huracán Super Trofeo. Contrary to the last car we looked at, which was the Super Trofeo Evo from 2018, this one was not added with Car Pass, but is actually available for everyone to just buy with credits. And that's a good thing in my opinion. But does the car still have the same problems as the Super Trofeo Evo? And is it still as ridiculously fast? We're gonna find that out today in this quick look episode. And with that, welcome back to HD Racing. If you're new around here or haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so and hit the like button if you enjoy this kind of content. So, as always, we are taking first a look at the stock version of the car, so the way that it's set up in the multiplayer spec series if you don't do any tuning to it. And afterwards we are also gonna take a look at a tuned version, and I'm gonna show you the tune in full and a race so we can really figure out what this car is all about. And I can already tell you, stock, the car still has some characteristics which are similar to those of the Super Trofeo Evo, but not nearly as pronounced. It has a little bit of lift of oversteer if you're really looking for it, but it's not all that noticeable in the stock tune. It does, however, understeer quite heavily. And that is what I noticed the most and what I wanted to try to fix with tuning afterwards. Because as you can see in some corners here, I really struggle to get the car, well, turned in and still accelerate out at the exit. Still, the time that I am able to do here wasn't all that bad. I think it was actually quite a good lap for the stock tune with the 144.596. I didn't really expect it to be this good, and maybe it's a little bit of an outlier. Maybe it was just a pretty good lap from my side. But still, the car didn't feel all that bad, and I was kind of happy with it, other than I wanted to fix the understeer problems. So now we're taking a look at the tuned version. And this one I was actually struggling with. I did try a lot of things in terms of tuning, but the main problem that I had with this one was when I wanted to get rid of the understeer. Obviously oversteer gets more pronounced if it's there already or it starts to crop up. And actually every time I wanted to like really fix an issue that I had, I made it worse in some other area. And it was really difficult to get this car in a state where I was happy with it. I managed to do it in the end, where I felt like the car was not overly difficult to drive and still faster than the stock tune. But actually, the time that I was able to gain wasn't all that big, wasn't all that much. And I tried still some other things and just wanted to make this work to, well, still behave well and be faster, but I actually couldn't really. You'll be able to see at the end of this lap, while it's maybe not the greatest one, I did try, trust me, quite a bit more, but I wasn't able to go faster than this. And that was a little bit of a surprise to me, because normally I'm able to go quite a lot faster with a tuned car, but in this one I really wasn't able to do all that much. You can see here 144.254. This is the tune that I did that in. So, as I said, I tried to get rid of some of the understeer, but I couldn't go overboard and really get the car rotated, because it really started to over-rotate in certain situations if I did that. So, for example, I really needed to keep up the rear arrow, because if I dropped rear arrow more than it is set now, I was really struggling to keep it going in a, well, in a not oversteering manner in faster corners. And the same goes for some other settings here. It was really difficult to set this up properly, and I'm not 100% sure that this is the best tune you can do for the car. Well, I'm pretty sure it isn't, because also tunes are always a little bit specific to the person driving. But yeah, definitely let me know if you have some ideas how to get this car to still behave, but go faster. But it wasn't bad. like if you take a look at the table, the spreadsheet, which I've linked in the description, you can see that the car is not terrible. It's just that a lot of other cars are able to go quite a lot faster. And I think that is the main area where this car struggles in. If you want to compete with cars that are, well, better than this in terms of their overall balancing right now, then you will have a little bit of a tough time. But we will talk about that a little bit more later on, as we're getting started here at Mid-Ohio right now. And I did actually get quite a good start, because that is something that I noticed, one of the strengths of this car. It has a very good launch, and I was able to, well, get going quite nicely, and also was a little lucky in the first corner. I think someone tried to turn into me, and I don't know if something happened to them, but at least nothing happened to me, which I was quite happy about. But you will be able to see that I will struggle a bit later on in this lap even, and in the following ones as well. Because the Super Trofeo is a car that I think really excels at the higher speed corners. And you can see here, by the way, I don't know how this is acceptable behavior, but some people just push you around. I don't know how I managed to keep it on track here. That's one of the rare occasions where I was actually managing to catch the car. I think there was also a second bump from behind, which at least somewhat helped me out here. So I didn't go off track, and I managed to keep at least in P3 here. But I still have someone very close behind, and we'll be able to see if I can keep him there. But yeah, as I was saying, the car has some problems for me, because while it is quite good in terms of acceleration and straight line speed, for me it struggles in terms of handling. And maybe that's just something where I'm, as you could see here, overdriving the car and trying to go too fast into some corners. But I really was expecting more grip there, and I really didn't get it. Maybe I also did lock up the wheels a little bit. Wasn't all too good. So I did let 2 more people through here, and, well, was a little bit struggling to keep my pace going. But yeah, as I said, the car, it's definitely not as difficult to drive as the Super Trofeo Evo. That one, I've tried some of your suggestions, by the way. Thank you for putting all those in the comments of the latest video where we did take a look at the Super Trofeo Evo. Definitely very helpful, and I think some suggestions definitely made the car behave better, but I was still unable to get the car going in a way where I felt comfortable racing it. So for now I've given up on the Super Trofeo Evo. I know it's fast, or it can be fast, but I just prefer cars that are a little bit better behaved, and where I don't have to worry about just flying off because I looked at a curb the wrong way, because that's something I wasn't really able to get out of that car. On this one, the Super Trofeo, it's not as bad. Yes, curbs can sometimes unsettle it a bit, but I don't think it's that bad out of the on the get-go. Basically, in its stock form, it still does handle curbs quite a lot better than the Super Trofeo Evo. And also I tried with the tune to make it absorb curbs a little bit better, so I didn't really have much problems in terms of, well, curbs trying to kick me around. Of course it can still happen, but that happens to a lot of cars. But in this one it was totally fine for me. But as I said before, the general handling of it, as I said, I was trying to get rid of the understeer, and that always meant compromising it somewhere else. So I landed somewhere in the middle where there still is some understeer present, but also some oversteer, but at least for me in a way that I can still correct it most of the time. So yeah, it's somewhere in the middle in terms of handling, but I'm not 100% happy with it in either direction. Sometimes in some corners the car is just like way too understeery, and I failed to get it around the corner in a quick fashion. But in other corners it then starts to, well, snap out on the rear, which is something you need to be able to kind of predict, to be able to react to it. And it sometimes felt to me a little bit random. It probably isn't, but like I wasn't really able to get to grips with the handling of this car. So yeah, the car itself, I think, as I said before, it's better behaved than the Super Trofeo Evo, and if you want to go for a Super Trofeo, like, I think this is the better choice, unless you want to go really fast and you want really a challenge. The Super Trofeo Evo can be very fast and definitely is a challenge to drive, both in terms of driving itself and also setting it up the way that you are able to drive it. It is a handful, as I said in the last video. The 2015 Super Trofeo, it's quite a bit easier in my opinion, and while not as fast, it's still a car that if you like this style, the Super Trofeos, then you can definitely go for it. But as I also said before, it's not really able to compete in terms of lap time with the faster cars. And by the way, here, I don't know why you need to go for the inside there this much. The Audi did ram into me there. I think it was an Audi. And I was, well, struggling to get the car back under control and then struggling to get back on track in a proper manner. Really did take a long time here. So I lost quite a few positions. Really unfortunate. I was still able to catch up or keep up with the guys in front, so I was still kind of hoping to be able to fight for like P5, P4, but that's now pretty much out of the cards for me. And once again, someone off track there, and yeah, wasn't that happy with the driving standards in this lobby once again. Yeah. Maybe that was a little bit of an overreaction by me taking that line, but yeah, still. As I said, wasn't super happy with how this race went. As is with the other cars that were in this lobby, in terms of lap time, I think I wasn't really able to compete for the podium in this one, just because I think the car just lacks, especially on these more handling focused tracks like Mid-Ohio, I think is. But yeah, with what was going on with bumping and really ramming into other people, well, that's something that then like kind of ruins these kind of races for me. And sadly, this has happened quite a lot more in recent times, and sometimes I'm really struggling to get a good race going that I can show you for these quick looks at the GT cars. I've noticed this recently really increasing the amount of dirty driving, and it's not even that I mean the like really dirty driving where people just ram intentionally, but it's just overly aggressive driving and diving for gaps that aren't really there, and well, disregarding any other players on track in that manner. I don't know, maybe that's just my perception right now, but I feel like it's gotten worse in the last couple of weeks, which is a shame. And I really hope that we got the announcement from Turn 10 that they want to work on the Forza race regulations. I hope they do, and I hope they can, well, get it in a better state, but for now it's not all that great. So we went here for the pit stop, which was basically mandatory. The medium tires were already quite gone, so really needed to change, but now we only have 5 laps to go. Should be fine for the end of the race. And well, we're coming out in P10 here, and this is basically where I should have stayed if I didn't make another mistake, which you're gonna see in a couple of minutes, I think. I was kind of able to go at least a consistent pace for most of this race, but I had some problems, and you're gonna see my problem corner coming up here, you can see I was able to catch up to the two guys in front and looking for an opportunity to overtake, but they were fighting as well, and I was overdoing it a little bit in this corner, which is really my nemesis on this track. It's really difficult, at least in some cars, to, well, keep the car glued to the track, so to speak. It's quite easy to fly off, in my opinion, if you don't take the corner properly. So yeah, in the end I did lose 2 more positions here. I think I did gain 1 back. Yeah, I did. But in the end it was only enough for P11. So yeah, not the greatest race, but I think you could very clearly see what this car is about. And well, we're gonna take a look again at a little bit of the hot lap on Barcelona, so you can really see what's going on there. And I was able to, well, tell you what I think this car is about and what it's, in my opinion, lacking. And as I said, it's mostly just the general pace, and the handling isn't, at least to my taste. I've noticed recently that I'm mostly gravitate towards the GT3 cars, which just, in my opinion, fit the GT category the best and just handle the way that I would expect a GT car to behave. The Super Trofeos are a little bit weird in that sense, because they normally sit at a different power and, well, are kind of try to make them fit into this category, and they kind of do, but then in some other sense they don't, because I think they lack downforce, for example. So yeah, it's kind of difficult for me to really recommend these cars for the GT series if you have other options that you want to explore. But as I said, if you really like the Super Trofeos, definitely go for this one, give this one a shot. It's a fun car if you like this kind of driving style. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. We will take a look at another GT car in the near future. And yeah, with that, I want to thank you for watching. I've been HD Racing, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.